With the Premier League season coming around the corner this week, why not talk about my predictions for the upcoming Premier League season? How's it going, guys? Mr. Game of Famer, and today, welcome to another episode of Sports Talk. And in this episode, we will be talking about my predictions for the 2017-2018 Premier League season. Last year, I made my own predictions. You can check that out on the Sports Talk podcast with a nice plug-in by yours truly. And now, I don't even want to waste any more time. Let's get on to my predictions, starting off with the relegated teams. And those relegated teams are 20th Huddersfield, 19th Brighton, and 18th, controversially, Swansea. So 20th Huddersfield, they don't have enough, in my opinion, to stay up. They are the team that came up through the playoffs, and yeah, they're just a weaker team in the Premier League. And that's why I'm just going straight back down. 19th is Brighton. I don't really want to put them down, but it's tough because they are also another newly promoted side. And, you know, I think Chris Hughton isn't a bad manager. It's just that they don't have. I don't think they also have enough to stay up as well, especially in a competitive league like the Premier League. And 18th, like I said, controversially, was Swansea. I think the huge factor is if Gylfi Sigurdsson does stay or not. I think he's staying, but if he isn't, I think they're going to go back down. I think he's such a talented player and a huge player for them that if they lose him, it's going to be game over unless they find a replacement for him. So we're going to go 17th through 11. And 17th is Watford, 16th Burnley, 15th Stoke, 14th Leicester, 13th Crystal Palace, 12th West Brom, and 11th is Newcastle. So 17th is Watford. I like Marco Silva. I think it's a good hire, but I don't know. There's nothing really that stands out in that team. They just signed Andre Gray from Burnley, so I think that's also a huge factor as well. But in my opinion, I think Watford are just going to survive the drop. Burnley, I think they play a very exciting, football, style. I think Sean Dyche is a really good manager, and I think they work together very well. So I think that's why they're in 16th. 15th is Stoke, and the reason why 15th is Stoke is because I don't think Mark Hughes is doing anything to progress this team. He doesn't really do anything, in my opinion. I don't think he's a great manager. And what is he doing? Mid-table, just like 10th place after mid-table, positions, and doesn't really do anything here. And especially he has very talented wingers and attackers like Shaqiri and Boyan. Like, he doesn't really do anything. I think he also brings in good players, but they just don't mesh, in my opinion. And I think he's probably the first manager in the league to be sacked. That's my opinion. 14th is Leicester, and it stinks to bring Leicester up in this mid-table position because season after last, they just won the league, which was incredible. Who would have thought? And unfortunately, it didn't go that well last year. They controversially sacked Claudio Ranieri, and who knows if they'll hang on to Riyad Mahrez. But they did bring in Kelechi Iheanacho from Man City. I think that's an absolute steal, in my opinion. He's a fantastic striker, very underrated. And I think he's going to be a huge factor and will definitely help Jamie Vardy, who also had a down year. And I think they definitely recapture that form later on this season. And I think the 14th, it makes sense, in my opinion, for this team. 13th is Crystal Palace. Frank de Boer is in as the new manager. They have some solid players up front, like Benteke and Andros Townsend and Wilfred Zaha. They have talented players, like I just said. And that's why I think they'll finish in 13th. I don't know what else to say, really, other than 13th place for Crystal Palace. That's all. I can also say that for 12th place, West Brom. I don't really watch a whole lot, but I know that they're a solid team. I actually rate Tony Pulis quite a bit. I think he's a solid, very solid manager. Solomon Rondon is a great striker. And I think 12th place is the position I think they're going to finish in. And 11th is Newcastle, the highest position and the only team promoted from championship to be in this season. They have one of the best managers in Rafa Benitez. Okay, maybe he's not one of the best, but he's a very talented manager who's managed some of the top teams around the world. So you gotta give credit to that. He won the championship, and they have a fairly talented team. Maybe they haven't done a whole lot in the transfer, window, but I still think with Benitez's leadership and having another season to adapt, especially in the championship, I think they'll do fairly decent, especially just coming up from the championship. Okay, so now 10th place to 6th place. So 10th place, I have Bournemouth, 9th West Ham, 8th Southampton, 7th Everton, and 6th Liverpool. So 10th is Bournemouth. I rate Eddie Howe. I rate Bournemouth. They are a very cool story as they have an extremely small team. Their stadium only holds around 10,000. And I did start a career mode with them, and I only did 2 episodes. Let's forget about that. But that is still a talented team. Okay, maybe it's not talented per se like a Man City or a Chelsea or Tottenham, but they have solid players, but they really work together. They really do. And they constantly get better and better and better each season. So I think this is going to be a huge step in the right direction. And I think they're going places, especially with Eddie Howe in the dugout. So 9th place, I have West Ham. And it was a fairly underwhelming season, just coming to the Olympic Stadium. And there was so much hype and high expectations. And it was very, very, very underwhelming. And I think one of the best things that they did is not fire Slaven Bilic. I think somewhat of a sophomore slump. They had those expectations, and it just didn't. I guess you say it didn't adapt to a stadium. Although I think that's kind of ridiculous. But who knows? Maybe those players just can't adjust to new conditions. And obviously, Payet left in the January transfer window, and I think they'll do decent. I think they'll definitely adjust from last year's just underwhelming season. I think they'll do all right in 9th place. 8th is Southampton. They also have a new manager in Manuel Pellegrino, who coached Alaves in the La Liga, and he also led Alaves to the Copa del Rey final, which is awesome. Obviously, he's now coming over to England, replacing Claude Puel after just 1 season, and I think they have a stacked midfield. They have a bunch of that. They just brought in Lamina from Juventus. Is very, very, very stacked in that midfield, and I think it's fairly scary, and especially that they develop, and they develop youth players through their extremely, extremely well known and praised system. So I think 8th is a solid finish for them, especially with some good players that they do have. So I think 8th is where I think they'll finish. And 7th is Everton. It sucks. It really, really sucks because I really, really rate Ronald Koeman and I really rate Everton. I think they're doing a phenomenal job this transfer window. Yes, I know it sucks to lose Lukaku. It does. But I still think they've bought very, very well. They obviously brought back Wayne Rooney in, and they brought in Davy Klaassen. I think he was the captain for Ajax. And I think they've done a fantastic job. And I think Koeman is top 5, maybe even top 3 best managers in the Premier League. He is a fantastic manager. Actually, yeah, top 5. Relax, Evan. Yeah, I think Koeman's doing a fantastic job, just like he did in Southampton. And I think he's translating that success in Southampton to Everton. And it sucks because I want them to finish higher, but just the other 6 top teams are just better in my opinion. And that's all it comes out to. So that's why I have them finishing in 7th. And 6th, I have Liverpool. And the reason why is because I think if Felipe Coutinho does leave to Barcelona, that is a huge blow to them. I don't think they'll be terrible, obviously. I don't think they'll finish in mid-table, but I think they'll just miss out of that European competition because Coutinho is such a fantastic player with so much flair, and his free kicking is second to none. And it will be a shame It will be a shame, but I bet you they'll get a lot of money, so they can definitely spend at different places and positions. But I think they'll just miss out of the Europa League spot. So now we're going to go into the 5th place position, which will be Europa League, and that will be Arsenal. I have Arsenal finishing in 5th place. Obviously, they just finished 5th place last year after, you could say, also a underwhelming season for Arsenal, a team that has been constantly in the top 4 picture, who always get Champions League. And even heading into the season, we were very skeptical because not only they stud Wenger, and there was obviously a lot of backlash from the fans that want him out, and possibly Ozil and Sanchez leaving. I think they're staying, especially so late into the summer transfer window. I think they're going to stay. Arsenal, they have a talented team. They've brought in obviously Lacazette, and they brought in Lamar. Actually, they have not brought in Lamar. They are looking to bring in Lamar, which I think will be a fantastic signing. But it's just that Arsenal, it's Arsenal. I'm afraid that Wenger is going to go through his phase that, he's kind of arrogant and he doesn't want to be proved wrong. And because late in the season, he finally adjusts to the new Premier League style. But I just don't think, I don't think his managing skills, especially with some of the other teams, especially how they did it in the transfer window, are going to, they're not going to finish inside Champions League position once again. And it sucks. It really, really, really sucks. So now we're heading to the Champions League spots. So in 4th place, I have Manchester United. And you could say it was also an underwhelming season in the Premier League, but in Europa League, obviously they won. They won the Europa League, which is awesome. So they're also getting automatic Champions League. So yeah, I think they're doing a good job. Pogba has another year to adjust to life in England. I think Lukaku is going to do great things for them. I think David De Gea is going to be still David De Gea. He's fantastic. And Jose Mourinho, another year under his system. I think it's going to be a good year for them. 4th place. Now in 3rd place, so in 3rd place, it's going to come as a shock to some people. Probably a lot of people, actually. But this is my opinion, so if you think differently, then leave in the comments down below and don't get mad at me. I have Chelsea, and the reason why is because I'm afraid that the Community Shield loss could possibly have an effect. Obviously, I know, it's the Community Shield, and it's a glorified friendly, but who knows, maybe people will take that, some of those players will take that in their chest, maybe that could affect them in some way, because obviously it's some type of silverware. And Morata, he missed that penalty. Who knows? Maybe that could be, something that go through his head and like, oh, geez, he's gonna feel down on himself. And I think 3rd place, especially from the reigning Premier League holders, you could say is underwhelming per se. But I still think 3rd place will be all right. If Conte gets sacked, then I'll be absolutely shocked. He should not be sacked. And also, the whole Diego Costa saga with Conte could have an effect on the morale as well. But I don't think there'll be Jose Mourinho finishing in 10th place. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think 3rd place, in my opinion. So, number 2, shockingly enough, I have Tottenham Hotspur. And yes, I have Tottenham Hotspurs. The reason why is because they have a team that works together so well with the quality that they have. They have one of the best strikers in the league in Harry Kane. They have a fantastic manager in Mauricio Pochettino. They're fine. They are fine. They're doing great things. Like I said, they work together so well under Pochettino's system that it's going to go very well. It's going to do very well. And I think they should definitely take bigger strides and even aim for a title shot. So, but I think they'll be very happy with another 2nd place finish, in my opinion. Now, number 1, the team I have not said is Manchester City. The blue side of Manchester is going to be the title winners this season. I just think because another year under Guardiola's system, and now he's bringing players that he wants, and also still having the quality that he had when he came in last year. So anything under second place, or even, I think even first place, I think they've got to win this league, is going to be fairly underwhelming because they've bought in so many players. And obviously, with saying so many players, it's definitely hard to, adapt with all these players. So that can have an effect. But Guardiola is such a talented manager, and now they still have that quality that when he came in, I think they're going to be fantastic. Now having another year under his system, I think it's going to smooth sailing. I think they'll do a fantastic job. And that's why I think they are going to win the Premier League season. So guys, let's check into my Player of the Year awards per se. So here's some of my predictions. So PFA Player of the Year, I said his name last year, I'm going to say it again this year, is Kevin De Bruyne. He is a fantastic midfielder. He is one of the best in the world, and I think he's going to do fantastic things. He did fantastic things last year, but I think he got injured last year, so that also had an effect on him. So I think he's going to do fantastic things for Man City this year. Next up will be top scorer, Golden Boot. In my opinion, it's going to be Harry Kane once again. I think he is just a player that you fear day in and day out. He just has the size, the pace, the finishing. He has everything. And that's why he's going to win it, I think, again. I think he won it last year as well. So it's going to be another fantastic year for Harry Kane. And that is it. That is over. My video is done. Those are my predictions for the 2017-2018 Premier League season. So guys, what are your thoughts? What are your predictions? Leave them in the comments down below. If you're mad at me, then talk to me in the comments down below. That is all. That's all I have for you today. Thank you guys for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe for more content on this channel. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Game of Fame. Link in the description. And I'll see you guys next time.